Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back here with another video. Behind schedule. I haven't even had my shower yet. It's nearly midnight. It's half 11, so doing pretty bad. My mum always lectures me, so I should have an earlier shower. But anyway, sorry, that's a side note. Life, sorry, right? But I do want to, as I mentioned before in my previous videos, for those who have seen them, or for those who haven't seen them, rather, because I suppose you wouldn't know. But I want to focus mainly on Black History and Sexuality Awareness, or as I call them, Black History and Empowerment Month and the Sexuality Awareness and Empowerment Month. But as it's the third today, I also want to talk about freedom and what it means to me. I'd love to read people's comments and hear from people about what freedom means to you, what freedom means to them, and people generally, and including especially from Black and three-quarter dyslexic communities, respectively. Recently, like YouTube said, they deleted one of my comments for some reason, and they claimed that it was something to do with spam, or it seemed like it was fraudulent or something like that for some reason. And I sometimes read up and hear that YouTube are sort of clamping down on freedom of speech. If you see freedom of speech and expression, like if you see a lot of comments are not being permitted to go through, they're deleting a lot of comments. Similar with Facebook, it seems like, and social media probably generally, which I think is probably shooting themselves in the foot, really, because some people say that. I mean, I probably know business is too big to fail, really. If people start getting fed up with YouTube and falling out with it, and they offend customers, which I suppose us content creators, even including small ones like me and bigger ones, are, or all of us really who create content and put effort into creating content, are. I mean, if we leave and the people who watch YouTube, like myself, stop watching it and watch something else, or check out other things, I think that could destroy their business. And like any business, really, however big YouTube is, and however many videos are recorded, and however many hours people watch, and how YouTube advertisers check out YouTube. I think if people get fed up with people or companies getting rid of freedom of speech, I think that maybe they could leave and go elsewhere. And if a platform comes along, to be honest, that offers freedom of speech, then I think, and freedom of expression, maybe that could do a lot better. And so I think YouTube should be careful. And I think it's a great platform, I'll say, but I definitely think they shouldn't block people's freedom of speech. But I want it to be as fair as possible, and I suppose I do, as I call it, get overzealous, if that's the right way of putting it. Well, that's the way I put it anyway. But in other words, I post a lot, and I also I post a lot of comments, and obviously I make quite a few videos, as you can probably tell, and I have a lot in that head of mine, so it probably does come across as spammy, as spam. So I have to be careful with that and not want to offend other people, just what I just talked about. So I wonder if I'm being fair. I'd love to know what people think. Like, I suppose without knowing the actual context of what I share, it's probably hard to judge. But I did want to ask, like, I would like to ask, like, am I being fair on YouTube and Facebook and whoever else? Or is it true that, like other people seem to have noticed as well, if you notice it on new YouTube videos, especially if you're a content creator like myself, trying to be an influencer, content creator and all that, I don't know why I put on speech marks, but they do say, even if you're just someone who posts a lot on or even a bit on YouTube, you'll see that not all posts are shown, and sometimes they check them. And I suppose there is a fine line between not wanting to allow people to spam others and irritate others, and they have to tackle bullying. But at the same time, it's a fine line between getting the freedom of speech right. So I wonder what you think. Like, do you think people should be able to say whatever they want, or do you think there should be some limits, and what should those limits be? I suppose that's the challenge of our times, perhaps. Some people say snowflake generation, or that kind of thing. But I thought of an idea whereby by law, what if I'd love to know again what people think about this. What if every person who posts or comments or makes videos on either Facebook or YouTube or any social media site or whatever, what if everyone basically owned the content they create, including posts, as I say, or whatever else, so that Facebook, YouTube, or anyone else could not delete anyone's content without their permission, and they'd have to have that evidence that you're breaking any laws, actual laws, that you, like, if you threaten violence, physical violence, or you're copying someone's work, like copyright, you're breaching copyright laws, or things like that. I think they're the only things, like, off the top of my head, they're the only two things I can think of. But anything that breaks a law, again, creating content, I can only think of like copyright infringements, or threats of physical violence. I suppose bullying, it's hard to say what bullying is. Like, if someone disagrees with what your comments are, like a lot of people, you can probably imagine if you see my comments, a lot of people criticize my punctuation, for instance. I could class that as bullying, but I don't think I should delete people's comments or not allow them to say what they want just because I disagree with them or just because it feels a bit harsh. So I think again, it is a fine line, but I'd love to know what other people think about that. So I know that's a little bit off topic of what I was talking about, Black history and empowerment and sport, and dyslexia awareness and empowerment and sport and that kind of thing, for this month, but and possibly November as well. But anywho, I'd especially love to read and hear from and listen to Black and stroke or dyslexic people about what you think about freedom. For instance, a lot of dyslexic people might say they get criticised for their spelling, or grammar, or whatever else, perhaps, and a lot of Black people might say they suffer from racial abuse. But I wonder what you think. Like, maybe a lot of Black people might say, oh, even if people want to be racist, as much as we might disagree with them, they are entitled to their views, even if we disagree. Like the saying was that I might disagree with your opinion, but I would defend your right to have such an opinion. Again, unless it talks about physical violence. The only things I think Facebook and YouTube, Anstroke or YouTube or anyone else should get rid of are either threats of physical violence, or threats of or copyright infringement. As I say, other than that, I think they should pretty much allow all posts. And sometimes we have to take it on the chin, agree to disagree, and things like that. To be honest, most of the videos I post on pretty much are to give those channels views. Really, it's to actually help those channels out. So I normally only go on channels I actually like, or be works I want to support, like Italian football or Celtic, or Black content creators or dyslexic content creators or whatnot. So I'm only going on there to support them in the first place. So but yeah, I think even if people do say racial stuff or prejudice stuff, I think sometimes we have to accept that people have those opinions. Unless they use physical violence or threaten physical violence, then I think that's a different matter. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. I know I do try and keep these videos short, and hopefully people like this different content that I do, rather than I know some people might not like the list videos I do. Like, some people have said to me, like, who else does list videos? But I mean, I like to keep my content unique. So I hope people like this content. I'd love to know what you think. Do you prefer this sort of content to the list sort of content, or whatnot? I'd love to know what are your least or most. I suppose I could check which videos have the most views, but sometimes I do like to do those list videos. But yeah, I hope people out there enjoy them. Anyway, back to the topic at hand for this month. The two groups I wish to support. In terms of, like, I think it'd be cool to see Black and stroke or dyslexic people respectively. Again, whatever I do for one group could be done for the other. I'd love to see maybe a consumer group. So let's say a dyslexic consumer group where we come together and pour our money and resources together and get cheaper deals and look at how we can learn from each other. Like, so for instance, we could look at who the cheapest energy supplier is, who the cheapest internet service provider, ISP, is, and how we can save money on our shopping, how we can make more money, how we can utilize our money better and help to go further, especially in the cost of living crisis. And again, the Black community could do similar stuff. Also, I would love for both Black and stroke or dyslexic people, as I put it, to be tax exempt, or at least pay the lowest amount of taxes, especially people from the Windrush generation. But I think minorities, it would be cool if minorities were tax exempt. Like, people say there's no way of doing reparations, or people argue about reparations, but I think there is a way to do so, which is to allow people of POC, people of colour generally, including obviously members of the Black community, maybe they could work together with other minorities to get the lowest possible taxes, to get money off the tax, maybe even be tax exempt, and stroke or get money from the state and from lottery funding, even councils, maybe look at how, like, paying the lowest amount of council tax possible, maybe even again being tax exempt completely, including council taxes, local taxes, road taxes, and other such taxes, all the different stealth taxes, as well as income tax, which was what I was initially thinking of. But I'd love to know what you think about each of these things. took me a while to get onto this video because I was thinking, what should I cover or not, and that kind of thing. But I know I always have these mad ideas in my mind. But as ever, please let me know what you think. I think I'm going to wrap it up now. There's probably some things I forgot, but I'd love to know what you think about freedom of speech. Oh yeah, now what I was going to say about the consumer group, if black and straight sex people have consumer groups which help them save money and help their money to go further and help them to have more money in their account, and also look at how to invest and grow that money, which I think is even more important. Maybe they could have, excuse the expression, but FU money. I'm not going to say the full word, but FU money, so to speak. I've got to be careful with YouTube, obviously, but in other words, if they want to quit their job, they'll be able to do that. If they don't enjoy their job, or they no longer enjoy their job when they did before, there's an opportunity. I think it's great to have those opportunities. I mean, a lot of people say like setting up their own businesses to become more free, although I hear people saying that it's actually more hard work when you set up your own business. You work almost all hours God sends. They say 24 hours, if I take things literally. I think everyone has to probably sleep at some point, I'm sure, unless you're a robot. Every robot, even a robot, probably has malfunctions or needs to be changed or whatever, change the battery or change the power source or whatever, or be fixed basically. But I don't believe anyone can work for 24 hours. Obviously, you have to sleep, you have to eat. I'm sure at some point you hopefully have a shower or a bath or whatever, and things like that. So I don't think anyone can work, because otherwise everyone could say, well, technically we're working. So I don't think anyone can say they work 24 hours, but apparently a lot of business people work 16, 17 or 18 hours even. So I mean, taking things literally, I disagree that you can work 24 hours, I'll say, but 24 hours a day or whatever. But I'm sure that people, yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure people work many hours, but yeah, apparently business is more hard work. So part of me thinks like, is that really more free? But maybe by working together, that's another thing, make things easier, because we're working together as a team, which hopefully means we won't have to work as hard to get the same result. But maybe I'm being naive. Again, as ever, I'd love to know what you think, and I know I've gone over the 10-minute mark, which I normally like to stick to if I can, 10 minutes and under even. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm out. Peace and love.